We're in Revelation chapter 13, a very important prophecy, and we're going to look at the first 3 verses together. It's John speaking. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. Over the years, this passage has struck terror into the hearts of millions of people because the beast that crawls up out of the sea in Revelation 13 goes on to do some pretty horrific things. By the end of the chapter, in fact, anybody who's not compliant with this beast, anybody who doesn't worship it, ends up facing severe economic sanctions and maybe even death. So you can understand that people have spent a lot of time looking at who or what this beast represents. You know, I've heard every theory under the sun, from a supercomputer in Belgium that keeps track of everybody's vital statistics, to an extremist Muslim who blows up Israel and leads an army of terrorists against the world. Over time, I've heard just about everything. But to be really frank about it, in the last 150 years or so, most of what we've been hearing has been based on guesswork and speculation. People take a Bible verse here and a Bible verse there, and they string them together to prop up whatever new prophetic theory they want to promote. And the result has been a new prophetic theory, it seems, almost every week. Take a careful look at this passage, though, and read it in the context of the entire Bible, and you'll notice something very interesting. John leaves very little room for personal interpretation. The passage we just read does not stand alone. In fact, if you turn back to Daniel chapter 7, you find that just about all of the elements we read a moment ago also show up there. Daniel sees beasts or animals coming up out of the sea. There's a lion, a bear, a leopard, and a strange beast with 10 horns. If you want to understand what John is saying, it's important to look at the context John would have understood. Revelation 13 is pointing us very clearly back to Daniel chapter 7. And then when you get to Daniel chapter 7, those elements are pointing us to other passages of the Bible like Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 8. If you want to understand Bible prophecy, the key is relatively simple. It's not easy because it will take long hours of prayer and study, but it is simple. If you want to understand, you just have to read the whole Bible. Now, what do you mean, Sean? The whole Bible? Absolutely, the whole Bible. And when you take that approach, a remarkable thing happens. All of a sudden, the whole book of Revelation just falls open, and you'll wonder why it seems so difficult in the first place. And let me assure you, in the past, when our spiritual forefathers read Revelation 13, they were in the habit of reading the whole Bible, and they were almost in perfect agreement as to who or what this beast represents. It's only in the last few years that we've developed a high degree of uncertainty. And that's why faithful and widespread reading of the Bible in these last days is going to prove to be a better way to live.